DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane.
Hi, today is Monday, August 12th, 2024. I'm Jim Sinicropi, and welcome to another edition of the Around the Lakes podcast here on FingerLakes1.com. I'm coming at you from our studio here in Seneca Falls, which is widely considered to be the inspiration for Frank Capra's classic holiday movie, It's a Wonderful Life. In addition to the popular festival held here every December, we're also home to the It's a Wonderful Life Museum. So the museum has big plans for expansion, and today we'll learn about it from 3 members of their board of directors. I'll be joined by Anwei Law, Rook and Deb Barbieri. But first, today's show is made possible thanks to support from the Perfect Pair Eatery, quality carry-out cuisine in Seneca Falls. Everything is made fresh with in-house smoked meats, cheesecakes, and marshmallows. Check out their unique menu of comforting creations, sure to please the entire family for lunch or dinner. Order online at perfectpaireatery.com. or call 315-712-4004 and look for the yellow door at 64 West Baird Street. And also Cafe 19, breakfast, lunch, pastries, celebratory cakes, pies, and catering, guaranteed fresh and always local at Cafe 19 in Seneca Falls. Also offering an assortment of beverages, including tea, coffee, and espresso drinks. Check out their full menu and weekly specials at xixcafe.com. So, as I mentioned, the It's a Wonderful Life Museum, big plans for expansion. I've seen what they have planned. It really is big. And, you know, I'm downtown Seneca Falls. I see people not from around here every day walking around downtown, and sometimes they're here for the Women's Rights National Historic Park or the Hall of Fame. And more over the past several years, they've come here to kind of experience the It's a Wonderful Life connection Seneca Falls has and visit the It's a Wonderful Life Museum. So there's an effort underway for expansion, and I guess we'll kick it off, guys. Welcome, Anwei, Jeff, and Deb. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff, tell me, first of all, our listeners, describe what the expansion entails.
Yeah, so the basically what we're doing is the current location that we're at what's the address?
32. 76 Fall Street?
Seven-
No, 32 Fall
32 Fall Street, which is the where we've been for the last
The former
14 years.
Women's Hall of Fame, right?
No. That's our interim.
Okay,
location.
gotcha.
But the original location, basically, we're in the process of gutting it. Right now, we're in the first phase of the new museum, which is structurally making the building capable of doing what we want it to do, and what we're going to come out with later on in phase 2.
And it's an old building. It's on the east side of Fall Street near the Trinity Church, and it was a former Anwei theater.
It was the first movie theater in Seneca Falls, built by Charles Farnese, the first Italian to permanently settle in Seneca Falls. So it's really a historic building, and perfect place for Frank Capra's favorite movie.
And Frank Capra, an Italian-American. Also, anybody who's seen the movie, there's a theme there with the Italian-Americans in the old in what we know as the Rumseyville part of town. But, so if this thing comes to fruition, Jeff, what's going to be so great about it? Like, what are the new, amenities and features that people can expect?
Yeah, the new museum is going to be phenomenal. I know we've got some pictures that we can show during the course of our podcast here, but it's going to have everything from set reproductions. You'll have an opportunity to be at Gower's Drugstore, in the Bailey living room. We'll have a replication of the bridge, Potter's office. It's gonna be that part of it's gonna be amazing. We're gonna have a 47-seat theater, kind of in the old Pantages style, with kind of like the luxurious, there you go. There's the design right there. And that's kind of the basis of our crowdfunding, support that we're doing right now with the stars. We have a thing going on right now through crowdfunding where, you can buy a star and, in remembrance of someone that was important in your life who's passed away. And basically the star design, when you go there, you'll be able to push a button, it'll light up, and that'll be your star with the name of the person that you named that star under. And the new museum is just, I can't wait. I'm very, very excited about it. It's going to be really, really cool. It's going to be a draw. I think it's going to bring, I think, 5 times the amount of people that we get right now. And the museum opened 2010. I think it was December of 2010. And every single year, the amount of people that come to town that visit our museum grows drastically. Last year, we had over 17,000 visitors. We're going to have more than that this year. And once this new museum is up and going, I think it's gonna be a huge draw. We get people from all over the United States, all over the world. What was it, 45 countries, I think we've had. Oh, wow. We've had visitors from 45 different countries that have come to the museum. So
it definitely speaks to the message of the movie, or how powerful the movie is connected with so many people. I mean, we all know, because we see how many people come to town for the It's a Wonderful Life Festival, for the 5K run that you founded, Jeff. And Deb, you're there at the gift shop in the museum, and you see who are these people that are coming, in the middle of summer?
These are very, very enthusiastic people.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thrill for them is they are in the real Bedford Falls.
Right.
They enjoy the museum, then they come over into the gift shop. We have, wonderful souvenirs that they can purchase. We have a beautiful backdrop where they can have their picture taken in downtown Bedford Falls.
Mm-hmm.
And they like the idea. Born and raised right here in Seneca Falls, lived here all my life. And I remember when our streets looked like the last scene, second to the last scene in the movie, where you can have your photo taken.
Mm-hmm.
And, down by Trinity Church, there was the medium down the middle of the street. So, going towards the hospital. So, seeing that street, and people love hearing it. And people they come in, I guess the community really needs to realize what an impact this museum and this, the gift shop, the race has on the community.
Mm-hmm.
Every day the question is, well, if you were going out to lunch, where would you go to eat?
Right.
So, we have a list of wonderful restaurants downtown. So people are eating in the community. They want to shop. They want to, buy things. Growing up, Seneca Falls did not have an empty storefront.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if the community would come together and help us support this, that we could fill all those storefronts again. People want to stay here. The hotels are full. Everybody wants to be in Bedford Falls.
Yeah, and it's it's a nice piece to what Seneca Falls has to offer tourists. I mean, people come to the Finger Lakes region for wine, obviously, the wine region, and the weather and the climate, in the summer and in the fall, and it's okay in the winter too. But then you have the women's rights history here in Seneca Falls, some of the industrial history of Seneca Falls, and then this, which has emerged in the past 20 years or so, our connection to that, it's not only the most famous holiday movie of all time. I mean, really, if you think about the most well-known movies of all time, like, you don't have to even put holiday in front of it. It's become one of the most watched and well-known movies of all time. So we try to honor our women's heritage. We're a national park. We have a Hall of Fame, and this museum is kind of Anwei, the home base for, when people come here looking for that connection to Bedford Falls, this would be like ground zero, right?
Yeah, and I think, what we're seeing, because we talk to all the people who come in, is the message of this film is probably more relevant than it ever has been. People say that. And that's the message of Seneca Falls, too, which is about the value and equal importance of each person. That's the message of women's rights. That's the message of It's a Wonderful Life. And we make those connections. And people are coming in, and it's like this oasis of hope for them in a world that is difficult. It's difficult. And I think that we're expanding because there's so much more potential. You know, we're looking at increasing discussions around the message that include anti-bullying, suicide prevention. People never really talked about the fact that this movie is about someone thinking of taking their life.
Sure.
You know, and we have one of the photos we have of the bridge. It's sort of a collage of people that George might have looked at, the people whose lives he impacted. And it's a chance to stand there and think about the lives that you've impacted. So when you think you haven't done anything, go stand on that bridge and and reflect on how much he did, and in essence, how much you do. And we're going to have something else there. We're going to have a place where people can make Zuzu's petals. People come into the museum and they go, where are Zuzu's petals? People name their kids Zuzu, their dog Zuzu, their florist shop Zuzu, their restaurant Zuzu. And it's like, where are those petals? Because the petals symbolize hope. And we're going to have a place where people of all ages can make petals to leave for someone else. They can take one themselves or leave that as a symbol of hope for someone else. So it's going to be very interactive. Potter's office is going to be an anti-bullying exhibit. We're going to put people in a low chair and tell them, don't sit in any more low chairs, right? And especially with young people, you know. And so I think there are opportunities to take that message and make it come alive today and help people solve a lot of the problems, or at least address the problems that are out there and difficult. Plus, as you walk in, I'll just say, when you walk in, you're going to see the marquee, a replica of the marquee from the Globe Theater in New York City, which was where the world premiere was. And you'll see it there. And next to it is going to be playing the movie all the time. So the first thing when you come in, you're going to see that movie going. And then also below there will be Gower's Drugstore, a recreation of Gower's Drugstore.
Like the soda fountain scene with Violet,
As
young
much as
Violet,
we
young
can do.
George.
We're working on what is possible to do. But yeah, that scene, the gift shop will be display cases from Gower's Drugstore. And then when you go around, the inside of the theater, as Jeff was saying, is based on the Pantages Theater in Hollywood, which was where the Hollywood premiere was held. And it's still, it has those colors and it looks like that. So you'll be able to experience, you know, what it's like to be at the Hollywood premiere. We try to do things that are authentic, you know, not create, just authentic. And the other thing that I think is very important, this isn't just about It's a Wonderful Life. This is about the history of Seneca Falls. There are several things in here. First of all, the person who built the building, Charles Farnese, the theater in this building is going to be called the Farnese Theater. We're not going to forget those roots. Those roots will be there. The story of Antonio Veracali. There's a photo that shows a life-size picture of his sister, Elisabetta, which is probably as close as we'll ever know about how he looked.
Yeah.
And there she is, and that's her wedding picture taken here in Seneca Falls. And then the other thing that we're pretty excited about is that the Walk of Fame in Hollywood has a really important connection with Seneca Falls.
The letters. Press, yeah.
All of the bronze letters for people who got their star prior to 1975 were made in Seneca Falls. Frank Capra's name was made here. Jimmy Stewart's name was made here. Donna Reed's name was made here. And so we're going to have an exhibit showing that. So everybody in It's a Wonderful Life who got a star on the Walk of Fame, their name was made here.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. It's amazing, really.
Well, it's a little scary. I mean, yeah, it's not scary, but it's kind of like that aha moment, like, okay, we're doing the right thing.
Yeah,
because
a lot of
look at
things are
these things that
connected.
are coming together. But that's a way to talk about Night Letterworks. It's a way to talk about people in this
And
community.
it was Night Letterworks, but then it became something else.
Matthews.
Matthews, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, my father grew up right next door to Matthews, like literally right next door to Matthews. And he's got lots of stories about, actually on my desk, I have, my grandfather has printed out like a desk name, James Sinicropi, which is, we share the same name, but that was given it to him by the people at Matthews because they were neighbors. So anyways, a little sidetrack there. But yeah, a lot of people, when they think about all these connections and all the history of Seneca Falls, that is a big piece that gets forgotten, that they did produce the Hollywood Walk of Fame, lettering here in Seneca Falls.
Yeah, and John Sandroni, who worked at Matthews, he was the plant manager. He's provided us with some things from there. And Frank Carasillo's father was the foundry foreman. So they both provided memories and photos and things like that. So that's going to be in there. And I think people will be fascinated. I think people in Hollywood will be fascinated
Sure.
at all of these, because the first basically 500 people on the Walk of Fame, their names were made here. Clark Gable, Katharine Hepburn, Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that is impressive. So, where do things stand now? Like, how can people help? How can people get involved? Like, where are you from point A to point B, with point B being the grand opening of the new museum? Just give us like some sort of update, and then let people know how they can help.
Yeah, right now we're doing a crowdfunding. And what's interesting is a lot of the donations and a lot of the support that we're getting is from out of state. There's not a lot of local support. So that's one of the things that we really wanted to talk about, is to let the community here in Seneca Falls, but also in the Finger Lakes, Seneca County, know that this is happening. Ground's been broken over there down at the museum, and they're working on the structure now and stuff, which is phase 1. But I guess we're asking for the local community and the Finger Lakes area to help out, because this is going to happen as a result of the support of the people. So that's our primary way of getting funding for this.
So how can people support it? Like, what would, if somebody's watching right now and they want to support it, what would be the best way? Are there many different ways, or?
Well, one of the biggest ways would be, again, we talked about buying a star in the theater. I mean, you have to see you look at this theater, it is so spectacular. I mean, people come in and they're just in awe when I show them the pictures of this theater. If every family in Seneca Falls, in Seneca County, bought a star, our museum would be moving forward.
Right.
Yeah, the goal is to have it done by the 80th anniversary, which is not this year, but the end of next year.
Okay.
We're hoping that we can get all 3 phases done at that time.
So like December 2025 would be a potential?
26.
Or 26.
26, yep, is kind of the goal. And that's the 80th anniversary of the film. And, as we were talking about before, that's going to probably be the last big celebration, big milestone of that
Till the
movie
100th.
with the individuals that were part of the movie.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I mean, time marches on, boy, and it's that's the other amazing thing about the movie is there's lots of classic movies that we know the names of, but there's very few classic movies that are still from that era that are watched as much as this is every year. I mean, there's none. Nobody sits down and watches, on the waterfront or, or some of those.
Yeah, right.
But It's a Wonderful Life. It's usually at least an annual watch for, hundreds of thousands of people.
Oh, could I mention something?
Yep.
So there are different ways people can contribute. They can do a star, that's $100. They can do a bell. One local family has done that. They pool their resources and are doing it in honor of their family member. It's a bigger bell, which is engraved. There are seat plaques. You can have seat plaque with someone's name. There are limited numbers of some of these things.
A lot of different levels of support.
Or they can be a founder. But, I think that the laundry basket accepts everything.
Yeah, from the movie.
That's what it's the laundry basket that's being filled by people. And so I think Debbie said no donation is too large, none is too small. But I think what we want people to do is the spirit of this museum is the spirit of people who've impacted our lives. And this movie's impacted our lives, but the people who've impacted. So things are being done in memory. So when you come in, you're going to feel that spirit of all of these people who have impacted the lives of others and are being remembered.
And I think this will be a museum where I think the local people, when you have friends, relatives coming from out of town, that's where that's where they're going to want to go. They're going to want to go to that, and you're going to want to take them to that. So, and it's also going to be a museum that can be utilized by businesses, by the people of Seneca Falls, with the theater and, different events that can be done there. There's a lot of potential and a lot of different opportunities that are going to be available with the new museum versus what we have now.
$100 to buy a star. Like, why not? How does someone, actually connect and place the order?
They can go to our website, wonderfullifemuseum.com. Mm-hmm. Can go to our crowdfunding. Our website will take you to the crowdfunding site if you want to go that right. And also on our website, you can see a video that shows you, has these two guys featured and shows some other people. So they can do that. They'll call our museum, they can do anything. And I want to mention that, there are 3 phases. So the first phase has been funded by the DRI, so it's the state. Mm-hmm. And that is going on. And pretty soon you'll see the fence going up, and there's a dumpster now in the back. And so you're going to actually see things, and there'll be some changes certainly you'll see by the time of the festival. There's also, the second phase is sort of what we're doing now. We're preparing the interior. We're preparing the interior for doing the exhibits. We're only keeping what's original in that building, which is the walls and the roof. We are going to gut the building, get rid of the apartments, get rid of all the offices, so it's be this huge, magnificent space. When it was a theater, it held 467 people.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to
That's
believe
amazing.
Thinking about that from the outside.
Yeah,
looking
and
at it.
so there's a second phase. So that's what we're doing, and then the third phase will be doing the exhibits. And at that point, we're going to be approaching people in Hollywood. We have some connections. I would like to say too that as a result of our crowdfunding campaign, we received a call. Actually, someone bought a star for their family members. They actually bought 6 stars for $500. And it turns out he's the CEO of a large public relations agency in New York City called Workhouse. His name is Adam Nelson. And he is a fan of the movie. He wrote a great article on Jimmy Stewart. He loves Jimmy Stewart. And they offered to do our outreach for this public relations pro bono.
Oh, wow.
So they've just come on board in the last week or so. And so, because that's someone who's seeing the potential, who loves the movie. And so if people wonder how this is going to happen, this is going to happen. Mm-hmm. And this is how it happens.
Yeah, we were chatting yesterday, you and I, and you said the same thing. It's like, it's not a matter of if, it's like, this is happening. The more support you can get, maybe the faster it'll happen. But yeah, it's happening. Mm-hmm. It's not just a concept.
Right.
So, yeah, wonderfullifemuseum.com would be the best place to go to see a little more and find those links to be able to become involved and donate. And any events to look forward to, coming up? I know what's the day of the festival this year?
The weekend of the 13th, 14th,
It's
15th.
always that first full week,
Second
full weekend.
Second Saturday, second week.
In December. So, if you're watching this because you came across it, the algorithm matched you up with the It's a Wonderful Life words, then, if you've never been to the festival, that's a great time to come, and we'd love to have you in December here in Seneca Falls, which is true power of the movie. People come by the thousands here for that festival in December. So, and it does speak to the power of the message of the movie, and the people that come, they couldn't be happier to be here. They love it when they get here to Seneca Falls. They like it.
And being on the board, I've had the opportunity to work a little bit down there. Mm-hmm. And, like we talk about with the race, on race day, when people get on that bridge and they're ready to start that race, it's all happiness, joy, and everybody's just in a great mood.
Yep.
And the same thing that I found at the museum when I'm working down there. People come in and they've just got huge smiles on their faces, and they go around, and you see it every day. It's just you know,
Absolutely.
it's just really cool to see. And I think this museum will, you know, we get a lot of visitors, obviously in the summertime. In December, when we have our festival, we get an influx there. But I think this new museum will carry a lot more tourism throughout the course of the year. The Januaries, Februaries, Marches, you know, people from all over the country, all over the world will come here at all, you know, during the times that you don't see a lot of people. And I think that's an important thing to mention too.
Yeah, it doesn't just have to be seasonal tourism here. 'Cause
Right.
when you think about it, we associate It's a Wonderful Life with Christmas. But actually, after Christmas is when people need It's a Wonderful Life.
Right.
It's when people get depressed. It's the doldrums of winter. And that's when you need to come and be reminded again of that message and be with people who are also feeling, wanting to feel that spirit. And so I think it can do a lot for helping businesses be able to stay open throughout the year, which will be a big deal.
And we didn't even talk about what's in the museum. Like with stuff in the museum now is pretty cool. A lot of authentic pieces from the actual movie, so you can actually connect by seeing the actual thing that was in the movie, or great photos of when the production was going on. Just a lot of stuff that if you're a fan of the movie, you can't see anywhere else. And then when you're there, it's it's a pretty intimate experience to a movie you've seen dozens of times that was filmed, go almost 80 years ago now. And there's something from that movie that you've seen so many times right in front of you. So it's pretty awesome, and wish you best of luck with this fundraising. And thanks for coming in and sharing the details. It really is exciting.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Yeah.
WonderfulLifeMuseum.com again for more information, and there's a great video on there you can watch. There's a QR code that'll take you right there. Links to the crowdfunding efforts. You can buy a star for just $100. There's other options to get involved to help the It's a Wonderful Life Museum here in Seneca Falls come to complete fruition. So thanks for joining us here on the Around the Lakes podcast. I'm Jim Sinicropi, and for all of us here at FingerLakes1.com, have a great week here in the Finger Lakes.